Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today I have a book haul for you. So these are books that I have acquired over the past several months, and some of them are actually pre-orders that I placed last year, and now those books have been released and are out for everyone to read. I've kind of divided everything up into genres, so we have like mystery, thriller, suspense, there's some contemporary, some historical fiction, and then also some fantasy. And there's actually quite a few fantasies, so I might leave the fantasy until the end of the video since there are quite a few. Now, some of the books that I'm going to cover are some of my most highly anticipated releases of 2026, and I'm so excited to actually have these in my hands now and cannot wait to read them. Some of these books are new to me authors that I am looking forward to trying out, and some are authors that I have read before and am continuing through their backlist. So first I'm going to go through the mystery, suspense, thriller books that I've purchased, and to start us off strong, we have The Bookshop of 99 Doors by Jaime Wright. This is one of my most highly anticipated releases of 2026. Jaime Wright is one of my favorite authors. She writes gothic suspense, and they're a dual timeline with a pretty heavy mystery element that ties those two timelines together. On the back of this one, it says, "The manor's rumored 100th door may conceal secrets hidden as deep as the estate's bookshelves extend high. But the haunted past has a way of ensnaring curious souls." And this one is really cool because there's a tie-in with the Civil War. So we have a bookshop and we have a pretty heavy historical element in this, and I am super excited to finally get to read this book. Next we have another Jaime Wright book, and this is The Reckoning at Gossamer Pond. Now this is one that is one of her earlier releases, but I'm working my way through her backlist and trying to get copies of the books that I have yet to read. I think I've read 5 or 6 of her books so far, and I'm working my way through everything else. So this is a new acquisition in that backlist. Another new release is The Girl Upstairs by Jessica R. Patch. This is another one that I was really looking forward to. This looks super intriguing. I'm already seeing some really good reviews on this book coming out by other people who have read it already, and I cannot wait to read this. I'm hoping maybe in June I can jump into this book. This one says on the back, "She bought this house to save her marriage. Unearthing its secrets just might claim her life." So something pretty major is going on there, and I can't wait to find out what it is. Next, I have an author who I've actually never read any books by before, and that is Janyre Tromp. I am really not sure if I'm saying her name correctly, so apologies if I am not, but this is her book, Shadows in the Mind's Eye. This looks really cool because it has a historical component and a mystery element. It actually says on the back, "Tromp weaves a complex historical tale incorporating love, suspense, hurt, and healing. All the elements that keep the pages turning." And something else super cool about this is I ordered this copy of this book from Amazon, but it was through a third-party seller. And that third party was I think a bookstore, and they had signed copies of her book actually in stock. So when I received this, it's a signed copy. So you can see in the front that it actually is signed by the author, and it says, "Celebrate beauty even when it isn't pretty." And so that was such a cool surprise to get this in the mail, and it's actually a signed copy of the book. Another new to me author is Gracie Ruth Mitchell, and her book Juniper Bean Resorts to Murder. So this looks fun. This is a contemporary with a mystery twist. So according to the back cover, Juniper Bean is actually a writer, and she's learning all kinds of things, and she's kind of getting some mystery elements into her writing, but then she stumbles upon a very real life mystery. And just the whole feel of this, like the way it's written on the back cover and everything, it just sounds so humorous. I'm really excited to try this out. It seems like it's going to be a good time. And my last book in the mystery suspense thriller category is The Traitor's Pawn by Lisa Harris. I have been reading some books by Lisa Harris and have been really enjoying those, and actually one of you recommended this one and said that you really enjoyed this book. So I purchased it and I'm hoping to give it a try as soon as possible. All right, and moving on to a few contemporaries, we have another new release, and that is Not What We Pictured by Becca Kinzer. There's a blurb on the back of this that says, "Not What We Pictured brings together a quirky cast of characters I couldn't help but love, a couple I wanted to root for every step of the way, and an ending that left me smiling long after I turned the last page. I've actually read another Becca Kinzer book and there was actually quite a bit of humor in it, so I am expecting that this will be the same way. And another new release is More Than Friends by Denise Hunter. This one says on the back, "Who knew that returning home after a broken engagement could be the best decision you ever made?" And isn't this cover just so pretty? I absolutely love the way the colors were used in this. It's just so pretty with the water and the clouds, and I'm not sure, like, is it a sunset or a sunrise? I feel like it could be either. I'm thinking sunset, but I guess we'll see. I wonder if there's something like this that happens in the book. And another author that I have not read any books by, Rachel Hauck. I think that's how she says her last name, maybe. But this is To Love a Prince, and this is another contemporary. And this looks like it's a royal romance between our main female character, who is not a princess, and our main male character, who is a prince. So this looks good. I think this is the first book in a series. So if I really like this, there are more to come. All right, and moving on to historical fiction, I actually covered one of these books in my last video, which was about authors that I've read one book by and want to continue reading more, and that is The Life She Forgot by Joanna Davidson Politano. This is Joanna's latest release, and it is actually a dual timeline and looks really good and super fun, and I loved the first book that I read by her, and I'm excited to get into this one. A new to me author is Vera Bell, and this is her book of Flaw and Scorn, and I just recently heard about this one. It looks really interesting because it is a historical with Vikings. And it looks like it takes place on the Irish coast in 795 AD. So this is really cool because it is a older historical fiction with an older time period. I actually really enjoy studying like ancient medieval civilizations, and so getting to have a historical fiction that takes place in a little bit older time period is really neat. Another one of my most highly anticipated releases of 2026 is Into a Golden Era by Gabrielle Meyer. I am super excited to have this in my hands. I have been waiting so long. I pre-ordered this, I can't even remember. It was sometime last year. I don't remember when. So I've been waiting months and months and months and months for this book to come out, and I'm so excited to finally have it. This is book 7 in Gabrielle Meyer's Timeless series, and it takes place in two time periods, which is 1849 during the California Gold Rush and 1929 during the Golden Age of Hollywood. So can't wait for this. This is going to be for sure a read in June for me. And another historical that takes place in earlier civilizations is Daughter of the Rebellion, and this is by Jaime Ogle. I have actually not read any books by Jaime Ogle, but she has a lot of books and I've heard really good things about her, and this one looks especially interesting because it's about a female gladiator during ancient Rome. On the back, there is a blurb that says, "A gripping tale of faith and resistance in the shadow of Rome's brutal arena. This story shines with courage, conviction, and the fierce beauty of redemption." It looks so interesting. I mean, a female gladiator. I really want to see what her story is and how she navigates all of that. All right, and now we are to the fantasy books. And like I said, there are several of these. A couple of them are actually series, and then there are some standalones. One that I got is A Bride of Fallen Stars by Victoria McCombs. And isn't this cover just so gorgeous? I mean, this is a stunning cover. Whoever the cover artist was for this did an amazing job. And this says, hidden passageways, secret meetings at midnight, 5 courts, a glass dance, and a tender-hearted mortal king in search of a wife. And oh, this is the first of a series, the Broken Constellation series. I didn't realize that this was the first of a series. I thought this was a standalone, so looks like I have a first book here. And next we have 2 books, The Betrayal of Eden and The Hunt of Calypso, and these are both by Erin Phillips. I've already been hearing amazing things about both of these. I am really excited to dive into these. They look super intriguing. Oh, and on the back of the first one, it says, filled with suspenseful mystery, shattered dreams, and dire consequences, the first book in the sweeping reimagining of Alexander Dumas' masterpiece, The Count of Monte Cristo, invites you into the resplendent world of Cartier City and will make you question everything you know about happy endings. So a reimagining of the Count of Monte Cristo. That is very cool. I cannot wait to see what happens in these books. I don't know how many are going to be in this series actually, but I do know there's 2 out right now, so I went ahead and got the first 2 so that when I finish the first one, I can dive right into the second one. Another one by an author I have yet to read is Tabitha Kaplinger and her book, The Castle Rose. And there's a blurb on the back that says, both haunting and enchanting, Tabitha Kaplinger's The Castle Rose will leave you breathless in the best way. Bastian and Odette's story is a tale as old as time, blooming with second chances, broken curses, and a mysterious magic only a story set in New Orleans can deliver. Readers will rejoice over this modern retelling full of heart and redemption. It's not that long, so it should be a pretty quick read, but I'm excited to get into this. And next we have Ariadne and the Legend of the Fire Rose by Christy A. Cole. This looks like so much fun, and I actually had the opportunity to briefly kind of meet the author of this book a couple of weeks ago on a reading sprint that I was on. That was a live reading sprint, and she was actually on there as one of the hosts. And so that was really fun to get to kind of meet her a little bit in that way, and I am excited to get to read now the book that she wrote. On the back it says, Ariadne never expected that the last thing her mother would ever say to her would lead her to a mysterious manor in the middle of the woods. Desperate and alone, she finds herself at the mercy of the people that live there. She quickly learns it is not just any manor, but a school for girls that teaches weaponry. With nowhere else to go, Ariadne decides to enroll in the school. But as time goes on, a darkness creeps in from the forest. People are disappearing without a trace. Vicious animal packs are growing, and strange markings are appearing on the trees. I won't read the rest, but that gives you a little glimpse of what is in this book, and it sounds so intriguing and fun. Next we have Andrea Costello and her book, The Sunbird's Last Lament. And this is book 1 in the Dragon Willow duet. So there is another book after this one, and I am excited about that because I get more to read if I enjoy this one. And this says, a runaway princess with botanical magic, a dragon trainer living on borrowed time, a love that transcends their doom. Botanical magic, that sounds cool. And a dragon trainer? Okay, so there's botanical magic and dragons involved. I'm sold. I can't wait to read this. Next we have Cerulean Rose, and this is by Demi Griffin. I really like the cover on this book as well. It is so pretty with the dark blue, and then we have the rose here. It looks really cool. And this one is about a girl who is actually trying to save her father. So he's struck by a serious illness. And so she's searching for a physician to heal him. And she is pulled into a lot of things that she was never expected to be pulled into. It says that this is filled with romance, mystery, and intrigue. And it looks like she gets sucked into some type of legend. So it says an ancient legend about a brotherly rivalry that resulted in tragedy stirs up the fates guarding Cerulean. If the Cerulean rose doesn't bloom again, the kingdom is destined to perish. So it looks like what starts out as a mission to save her father turns into a mission to save her world. So I'm interested to see what happens in this one. All right, we are down to the last, I'm going to say 2 things that we're going to cover in the fantasy section, and they're both series. So the first one is Reverence by Raina Rude. And there are 3 books in this series. So it's Reverence, and then we have Rebellion and Ransom, and these covers are really cool as well. And so I went ahead and bought this series because I didn't want to risk not being able to get the complete set with these covers because they are so cool looking. But this series looks really good. It says that inside the walls of Vita Nova, safety comes at a terrible price. And this is actually a dystopian trilogy. So I went ahead and put it with the fantasy section, but this is a dystopian trilogy. I don't actually know whether or not there's like magic or anything in this at all. There may or may not actually be magic. I think it might be straight dystopian. So maybe they don't quite fit in the fantasy section, but that's okay. It's kind of like an imagining of another world, so close enough-ish. But I haven't had the chance to read a dystopian series in a while, so I'm very much looking forward to this one. And last, we have On Wings of Ash and Dust by Brittany Wong. And the second book to that, On Wings of Crowns and Chaos. I'm telling you, these book covers, they're just really pretty. Now this series, I don't know if it's complete with these two. I have a feeling there's going to be more books, but I don't know 100%. But these are the first two that are out, and this says, a rebel pixie princess, a deadly competition between 5 fairy clans. Will she win the crown or die trying? So we have a competition fantasy, like kind of deadly trials vibes going on, which is very exciting and intriguing. I definitely enjoy books like this. And it's really cool because inside here there is artwork every so often. So as you're kind of flipping through the book, there are breaks in the chapters and stuff, and there's this really pretty artwork all throughout. And I think it's the same way. Yeah, it's the same way with book 2. There's artwork all throughout these books. So these are very cool. They look very fun, and I can't wait to dive into these. All right, and that is it. I cannot wait to read all of these books. I am so excited about all of these. I know I've probably said the word excited a million times in this video, but it's true. These all look so good, and like they're going to be such a fun time to read. I hope maybe you saw some books in here that you are interested in, and maybe you can find a fun read from this video as well. And if you do end up adding any of these to your TBR, please definitely let me know in the comments below. And if you read one of them, let me know what you think. Thank you for spending this time with me. I appreciate you all so very much. And as always, remember to keep following your dreams and believing in the magic of this thing called life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.